Good. All right. Well, welcome everyone to our Hard Conversations series. This is a program put on by the SBA partners in our region. That would be the Small Business Development Center, Service Corps of Retired Executives, and the Women's Business Center at Community Works. This is a 4-part series. The first part was on hard conversations with your investors and lenders, hosted by the Small Business Development Center and Earl Gregorich. The second one was hosted by SCORE and on hard conversations with your in sales. It was presented. It was presented by Jerry. No, oh gosh, Larry. Sorry. And that was 2 weeks ago. This week is being hosted by the Women's Business Center at Community Works. It's on hard conversations with in networking, just how to explain your business very concisely so people understand what you do. And then in 2 weeks on the 21st at 12 noon, will be hosted by the Upstate Entrepreneur Ecosystem, and that is on hard conversations and talking about problems, telling your employees, your partners, your spouse, your bankers about challenges or problems that you're having. So we are looking forward to that in 2 weeks. We have a panel of business partners. We have a business attorney. We have a woman who works for the city of Anderson and runs the Brew, which is a kind of community mentoring where business owners talk about their problems in public. So we have an exciting lineup for 2 weeks. But today we have a very exciting lineup, and I'm going to turn it over to Sarah in just a few minutes. She will be hosting today. But Jerry with SCORE, if you would like to take a minute and explain what y'all do.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Jerry Smith. I'm with SCORE, and we're a nonprofit organized under the SBA. And basically what we're really known for is one-on-one mentoring. We also have a workshop education program, but the heart of what we do is mentoring. If anybody's interested, there's no cost to it. The best place to go check everything out is at piedmont.score.org. And really looking forward to hearing what the ladies have to say today. This is an incredibly important topic, and it's something that young entrepreneurs, not in age, but beginning entrepreneurs will run into all the time. And this whole idea of networking, being able to deal with the hard conversations, really love to hear what they have to say. What a great topic. I'm sorry.
Very good. Good. Thank you, Jerry. And yep. Earl, if you would explain a little bit about what you do with the Small Business Development Center.
Sure. Happy to do that. Thanks, Aaron. Small Business Development Centers are all over the state. Up here in Greenville is where I reside. And we basically help small businesses in all stages. It could be an idea stage, startup, growth, or transitioning. So if it's a business challenge, we're here to help you. And we do that through consulting, educational courses, much like you're going to get today, and also connecting of the dots with resources. So happy to be here and glad to be a part of this, and looking forward to the program today. Thank you very much.
Good. Thank you, Earl. And I would like to also introduce Katrina Meeks, if you'd like to say something. Katrina is the Small Business Development Center rep for the Spartanburg area, and Earl is the manager in the Greenville area. So Katrina.
Hi everyone. So glad that you have joined us today. I am not on camera today because I don't look as beautiful as you all do today. I have actually been out in the rain had a little bit of flooding back there in my backyard, so trying to get some things out of the way. But I'm happy to be here, and we are, as Earl said, part of the SBDC, which is, you'll find them all across 50 states. And we're here to help you with your small business, no matter what stage you're in. Please give us a call. Thank you so much, and so happy to be a part of this, Aaron.
Good. Well, Katrina, we're so glad you're here. And Raquel, did you have a question? Raquel Sparks?
Yes, I did. I was going to see if he could drop the link. Was it Jerry for the mentor? Drop the link in the actual box, or I can write it down really quickly.
I'll type it into the chat window.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And we'll include everyone's emails. If everybody would like to put your emails, please, in the chat, then we can all connect with each other. All right, very good. Sarah, it's all yours. I'm going to mute myself now, and thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Erin. Hello, everyone. I'm very excited to be here. Today, I will be the host for Mastering Hard Conversations. We're hoping to cover how to talk while we're networking. A lot of times we struggle with this, and we're going to hear from some boots on the ground on how they're doing it and how they're continuing to improve these mastering of hard conversations. Not everyone feels confident or comfortable when we have to introduce ourselves, or let alone when we hear that word pitching your business or giving your business pitch or that elevator spill in 1 quick minute. But we want to kind of demystify that just a little bit today by helping everyone learn that it's just really just having a conversation and help sharing your story in a way where people can remember you and what you're sharing with them resonates with who you're sharing it with, and how to continue to build and practice that skill, because it is a lifelong skill. So thank you so much. I'm very honored today to be here. So I am Sarah Carter. I'm representing Community Works Women's Business Center. I have actually been in a couple of these meetings, and they're always so amazing. They're always content filled, and you always take away something. So it's really quite an honor for me to actually be the facilitator today. So Community Works Women's Business Center, we're about a year and a couple months old now. We're the 3rd women's business center in the state. We're very privileged, I think, to have 3 women's business center. There is one at Benedict College, and there's also one that just launched earlier this year in the Charleston area. So please visit with us, check us out, Google us, connect with us, and also use this as a resource to refer your clients to us. We are on a mission supported and sponsored heavily by the SBA, as you may or may not know, to help as many entrepreneurs as possible, especially women-owned businesses, to start, grow, and expand their business. We want to be a support for that group of people, where we offer coaching, training, webinars, seminars, things like this, what we're doing today, resources, and a community of network of like-minded entrepreneurs to help you move forward with your business. A little bit about Community Works. If you're not familiar with Community Works, we also invite you to check us out. That Community Works is a CDFI. That means we have access to funding and capital for those entrepreneurs who need a small startup loan, anywhere from $5,000 and all the way up to $250,000. So if you need access to capital or funding, we are a one-stop shop where we help you go through that process of applying for your small business loan. And if you're not quite ready, we also want to help equip you to be ready for accessing those products as well. So I just shared a little bit about myself. I'm partner in crime with Anna Parra, who is the director of the Women's Business Center. She is unfortunately unable to be with us today. She's traveling. So I am actually sitting in and really excited to facilitate this engagement today. So today we're going to hear from 2 guest speakers. At this time, I would like to introduce one of our honored guest speakers, who is going to be sitting as a panelist, and we're going to have conversations today. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce Ms. Lakeisha Whitner. And I'm going to just pause this for just a second, because she did share with us a brief bio, and I don't want to mess it up. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that up now, so that way I can share that with you. 1 second here. She's got such an extensive, thorough bio. I'm like, I'm gonna have to become her new best friend, because this is somebody that's very seasoned and has quite a bit of knowledge and just hands-on in the community. So during the 2017 local election, Ms. Lakeisha Whitner became the first woman of color to run for mayor of the city of Spartanburg. I did not know that. She may not have won that particular race, but her contributions to her city are undoubtedly the mark of an outstanding leader. Ms. Whitner is her guided mantra is this: if you build the people, you will grow your city. So if you build the people, us, the people are resources, we will grow a phenomenal city that we can be proud of. Through her work in the North Side Development Group, otherwise now known as the NBG, Her passion for projects and has aimed to help people with employment, empower and enrich people of other communities. Ms. Whitner certainly has our vote for Upstate Black History Maker. She is a mover and shaker, and she is definitely a trailblazer right here in beautiful Greenville. So as a long-term resident of Spartanburg, Ms. Whitner has seen changes and the economic development of the city and the county. She's seen these changes and growth happening right in front of her. In her role as a supportive services manager of Northside Development Group, she serves as a sort of community quarterback, okay? Just think about that quarterback when we're thinking sports. She is the community quarterback for us. She serves as in that capacity for the residents living in the North Side. To help those somewhat 1,800 families keep up, she provides assistance with financial literacy, super important, knowing how to manage your money and your credit so you can participate in the growth and development that's happening. She works with families on helping them get ready for home ownership, employment opportunities, and access to countless resources such as the ones that we're bringing to you today. We are definitely not an island. We cannot do this by ourselves. We collaborate with our resource partners. And just in summary, Ms. Whitner she also works as an administrative assistant for Pastor Richard Williams at Vision of Faith Christian Ministry Church, where she loves to serve the youth. So this is like a holistic thing from the youth to adults to the community. This is definitely a trailblazer that we want to get acquainted with and to know a little bit more. If you have not had a chance to really meet with her, which I haven't, I will be scheduling a one-on-one meeting to get to know her personally. But we're hoping that today we'll have an opportunity through these conversations to learn a little bit more about, something that I didn't share in her bio, and actually what she's doing as an entrepreneur and how she's helping other entrepreneurs build that confidence as well. We also have a second guest speaker or panelist today, and I would like to share something with you to help me introduce our second panelist. I think here she is, Ms. Tamika Thompson. Give me just a brief moment and I'll pull a short video up to help me introduce Ms. Tamika Thompson, and then we're gonna jump right into today's conversation. So at this time, I'm gonna share my screen again. 1 second. Okay, I think I may have forgotten to click the sound when we have to click sound. So let's see if I can do that again. Share my sound. I'm still learning, y'all. Thank you for having grace with me. Okay, so here we go.
I am Tamika Thompson, and I am the owner of Beyond This February, an independent bookstore prioritizing Black stories year-round. 75% of Black adults wish that there were more culturally relevant books accessible for them and their loved ones to read. I started Beyond This February after struggling to find culturally relevant stories for myself and my children to read. Our local bookstores offer one shelf or less of Black authors. Online searches with big box stores are often filled with unrelated posts, and Black stories often fade in the background after February ends. I wanted to have something that lasted year-round. The solution is Beyond This February. We offer a curated selection that's easy to browse, and Black stories are prioritized 365. You deserve to have stories that are as multifaceted and as vast and expansive and encouraging and inspirational as you. Our mission is to create community with those who love, need, amplify, and support Black stories year-round while building connections that help home libraries and historically marginalized communities thrive. We are focusing on the South Side and North Side Black non-men residents here in Spartanburg, South Carolina. We believe that we have the opportunity to capture at least 3,991 of those potential clients. Our current marketing strategy has been a lot of word of mouth, through deep conversations with community partners. Our local media has featured us, and we've been in Spartanburg Herald Journal, the Greenville News, and we've also made a little bit of national media through a publication called Shelf Awareness and on MSN. We use Facebook to build an organic following by sharing contents and pop-up event invitations that are really driving most of our sales. We believe our competitive advantage is that we are in a niche market, we are really community centered, and we are going after an untapped market, and we have lots of mentors who are already in this industry ready and willing to help us. Our business model is very simple. We offer online store where you can get books shipped directly to your house. We have audiobooks that are instant downloads to your any device, phone, computers, and we do in-person pop-up shops so that you can browse, touch, and explore the books in person. Our projected revenue is about $27,000 for this year, as we just started and we're still in infancy and we're still working through how to best reach our target market. But we expect once we have a physical space in about 2023 to see that grow about 4 times. We've had significant traction. We have about 250 organic followers on social media. We have 130 paying customers to date, which is wonderful. Just last week, we did $600 in revenue at our second pop-up market, and that was in about 3 hours. So that's $200 an hour for us, which is amazing for book sales. We're on track to generate about $27K in revenue, and we just recently acquired 3 new marketing opportunities in the past 10 days. We are getting a lot of community support. People are telling us and letting us know that they are so happy that there is a Black-owned bookstore coming to the area. They are looking to see how they can support. We've gotten a lot of great feedback, and we're just looking forward to being deeply rooted in the community. So our 30K breakdown is something like this. We are looking for 7K in marketing. We are looking for 6K with a point of sale system. It's very industry specific. It helps basically do the work of another person. We plan to have a 6K contingency fund, spend 5K in professional services such as a full-time accountant and attorney, 3K for different equipment to make our pop-ups a lot easier and better suited as an experience for our clients, and about 2.6K in displays and fixtures just to keep everything upright, intact, and attractive. We've made 4K in personal investment so far, and we intend to keep investing over time. So we believe in the power of multiple stories, and we hope that South Carolina Community Loan Fund believes in the power of multiple stories too. Thank you so much for your time.
I could not have done that any better, Tamika. I'm so proud to introduce to you guys our second panelist, Ms. Tamika Thompson. Great job with sharing your story in that 5-minute elevator pitch. And at this time, we're going to open it up for some conversations, because it takes skills, it takes confidence, it takes giving yourself permission to share who you are, what you do with the world. So I would like to start the conversation by beginning with that question, like what motivated you to start your own entrepreneurship journey? What gave you the confidence to launch a business? And either of the panelists can take that question.
I guess I will take a leap and go first. So really for me, it wasn't a question of taking that leap and jumping into it like, oh, I've always wanted to do this kind of thing. It was more like I've been sitting still in this pandemic, as so many of us have, and just kept hitting these same roadblocks with finding stories that connected with myself and my children. And I was like, I know I'm not the only person having this issue. So what can I do to not only kind of sort this out for me, but sort this out for my community as well? Because this year has while I've been at home, I've also been really heavily in the community, talking with people, engaging in different aspects of grassroots elements around me. And this was something that was repeatedly coming up. So I was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm scared to death to do this. And I actually shared this with Lakeisha as how we met. I saw her speak in another space, and I said, I'm kind of interested in running my own business. And she's like, okay, why aren't you doing that? What's holding you up? And I didn't have an answer for that. I didn't have typical excuse to be able to kind of navigate around it. So I just said, all right, well, I'll take a chance. I'll do this scared and see what happens.
And you did an amazing job through our Start Me Spartanburg program. I myself speak from my business, which is Children and Choices. It is a nonprofit organization. We were offering after school literacy tutoring, and then we realized that we're doing this from the wrong approach. And so we started offering in-school literacy tutoring, where we actually would have the parents go into the school system and get the homework for their child. And we had volunteers that would meet with the parents during school hours, right? And help teach them how to do homework. We all know math has changed so much since I was in high school. And so we had a lot of young adults teaching us how to help parents, and then COVID hit. And so everything we were thinking we could do, we did have to put it on hold. We also learned that the disparities in technology made it even more challenging. And so we're looking to go in a different approach this upcoming year. We understand that with being a business owner, sometimes you do have to pivot and redirect your focus.
Well said. Well said. Thank you so much. So what I'm hearing you say is that you gave yourself permission to go forth despite a pandemic. How do you do that? How do you move forward and start up a business in the midst of a pandemic? What gave you the confidence, the tools, or what resources did you tap into to allow you to give yourself that confidence and that courage to do such a thing in times such as these? Tamika.
Sorry, still finding that technology component of here. For me, so I'm an introvert by nature. I don't particularly care to be out front and center of things. So I really had to learn to rely on resources and other people in order to kind of get my footing into what I wanted to do. And starting a business in the pandemic was just, honestly, it kind of seemed easier this way because you have a lot of time to sit still and really focus and hone in on what you want to do. We weren't moving or going anywhere. So, and I'm sure lots of you seen those, different memes and statements about, you need to come out of the pandemic with something. And I was just trying to come out of the pandemic with my mental health intact. But I was like, well, what can I do when this is over? How do I want to feel about this time that I spent? And it seemed to me that running this business was going to be beneficial for me and the community. So the community component is the biggest part of pushing me through this pandemic and getting the business off the ground.
Oh, Sarah, you're muted. Sorry to break it to you.
Thank you so much.
I hate to be the one to say it. It's like, oh.
No, thank you so much. You're fine. You're fine. Yeah, I was just saying how it's important to be authentic and true to yourself, especially as you're thinking about starting up something, a new idea, a new business project, or a new project that you're going to pick up and work on. You have to really think through some of those things. Is this true and authentic to who I am? Am I equipped to do this? Do I have the resources and the support to do this? And it sounds like Tamika just shared with us how she was like, I'm naturally an introvert, but I'm not going to just sit here and do nothing. So it really pleases me to hear how you were able to be authentic, acknowledge that, recognize it, and still move forward despite that. So a great business story is a great human story. And I think your 5-minute pitch did a great job at sharing that with us. Now, I would like to touch on the second bullet point here where it says you don't have to be a public speaker or an extrovert to be a successful entrepreneur. Do you agree or disagree?
I think there was a point in time where I would have disagreed because I thought everyone had to be a TED Talk speaker in order to, get their business out there. And that's usually who we see at the forefront of so many businesses. But one of the things in the Start Me program is I think our first guest speaker was an introvert. And she told us, this is not I do not like public speaking. It's not something I enjoy, but I do it because it matters and I'm passionate about this thing. So it's easier for me to speak about something I'm passionate about. And that aligns with me. I typically won't speak on anything that I am not passionate about. And it makes it easier to come out of your shell a bit when you are rooted in yourself and what your goal is.
Thank you. Thank you. Lakeisha, do you agree or disagree? Do you have to be a great public speaker to launch a business or to help you express who you are as an entrepreneur as you're looking at different projects to consider starting up?
And so the word great is so subjective, right? It just depends on who you're delivering to. I don't think you have to be a great public speaker. I just think you have to be great in the passion and the work and the lens that you're operating through. If you can bring someone into your story, I definitely believe that you can sell that story, that business to anyone. Tamika was such an amazing speaker that we would all just be like, so what she's going to say next? So what is she going to, so we were drawn into the message even before she even had her final pitch. So understanding that quality, that what I'm sharing, I want you to see it through the lens of empathy, or the lens of compassion, or the lens of love, or the lens of excitement, right? Is how you get that story across. I really don't know that you have to be what is deemed a great speaker. Just speak your truth.
Thank you. I love that, Lakeisha. Speak your truth. Give yourself credit. Give yourself some space. Allow yourself. And the more you speak that truth and the more you share your story, I personally believe that you get better at telling that story. And you also begin to develop a way to share it. As you mentioned, Lakeisha, it depends on who you're talking to. You have a short version of the message, a middle, more formalized version, and a longer, extended version of your message. And what we want to do is practice it. Practice makes perfect. And the best candidates to practice your business idea, your business spill, or your business pitch is on those loved ones that we have around us, maybe at home, or these community services that are, we're non-judgmental. We meet you where you are. You come in as you are, and we help you develop you and build you. So, but knowing yourself and acknowledging, if that's not your strong suit, if you're a bit shy, a bit more reserved, introvert, to pull some tools on what can help me develop this. There are local Toastmasters. Many people don't know that Toastmasters is a safe space to practice public speaking. Some people join the clubs just to develop their elevator spill and speech, and others join for several other reasons to be able to be more poised, more elegant and eloquent as they're sharing, but to be true and authentic to yourself. I can't say enough about that. So thank you, ladies, for sharing that. We are going to move. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'd like to ask a quick question, and there's also some questions in the chat. But when you're talking to other folks, just like at your pop-up booth, or just at church or wherever, and you being authentic, but then you also say practice. How do you balance that? Well, to me, this is just a tape recorder canned speech with being authentic to our panelists.
Great question.
So I speak in the moment. That's just the type of person that I am naturally. So I don't have a canned, speech. That's just not me. As I am, I just talk to people as if I'm having a conversation, and I try to address whatever their true whatever the question is, there's usually a need behind it. So I try to get to the need factor of the question and just make it a very genuine conversation. I don't think it has to be a sales pitch. I personally don't want to be sold in my church environment or, at a market event. I want to experience this product or this event with you. And I think making it an experience of human connection versus I need you to buy this and it's $12.99 makes a very big difference.
Great answer, which rewinds us back to being authentically you and what works for you and what's going to help you stay in that moment of opportunity with whoever you might be speaking with. Great answer. Lakeisha, did you want to add anything else to that?
And so in this line of work, I listen for the things they're not saying. Right. So I usually listen to, so if someone comes in for financial literacy or they're looking for employment, I listen for the things that they're not saying. So how did you get here? Do you need a bus pass to get to your next destination? So listening to hear and understand the needs that they're not asking for are key elements for me.
Very good. Well said. That was a great question, Erin. Thank you so much for that. And I don't know if there's any other questions that are popping up in the chat box. I am so focused on facilitating the conversation that I have not even looked at the chat box, but please keep the conversation going there because we will have a chance to raise up some of those questions. So now we're rolling over our attention to knowing your business, understanding why and knowing what you have of value, and being able to share that with a potential client, to know your numbers and to speak to that problem that you're solving for your clients. A lot of times I get quite a number of scheduled consultations and they're like, I have a great idea. But nowhere does the client ever have an opportunity to sit down and maybe think through some numbers and see if this business model even makes sense. Nowhere do they take the time to really understand more about the business industry. So I'm curious to hear from our panelists. What helped you understand why you decided to start your business and recognize and acknowledge what you have of value for your community? How did you know you had something good and something valuable that the community will pay you for? How did you know that you have potential clients? That idea validation, whether your business is viability. What led you to acknowledge I have something good and people will actually pay me for this? People are actually blowing up my phone trying to get a book or get me at their event. When did you know that you really started understanding your business model a little bit more and that it has value? And this question is for both of you. So
I think for me, I knew, I vaguely knew beforehand because I was seeing the question come up, where can I get a book featuring Black characters about this subject? Where can I get a book written by a Black author about this subject? And it was coming up in Facebook groups that I was in. It was coming up in conversations that I was in real life. And it was coming up repeatedly. And so I started doing research to see what was around locally. I live in bookstores, and oftentimes I tend to be the minority in the bookstore. Even in the booksellers don't look like me. And so when they tend to look like me, it's usually Black History Month, and that's just the honesty of the situation. And I wanted something different to be evolving in the community. And sometimes when you want something different in the community, you have to be the person that makes it happen. And that's not everybody's, not everybody wants to hear that. You're always hoping someone else is going to do it first. But sometimes you have to leap out there and just kind of take what's in front of you. And when it keeps coming up over and over again, you have to jump on it.
Thank you. Thank you, Tamika. Lakeisha?
So I'm trying to figure out how to answer this from the different lenses of operation that I'm in from day to day. From my business perspective, I have to say lived experience. I realized that I needed additional tutoring coming through school, and it was not readily available. So where is that available, right? And how do I help others get to the need or answer the need? So when you find a problem, I've learned also come with the solution. I met with quite a few professors, and I realized that if I'm going to come with the issue, I may as well come with the resolution. And so understanding that there was a a huge void when it came to after school programming. When I was coming up, I too, like Tamika, I'm a 10th grade dropout, but I do have my MBA now. Understanding the complexity of having someone there after school to help you with your homework assignment was so key. But then learning that the home environment was the first learning place, right? It's conducive for learning. And so changing our model and changing our brand made us understand we need to just help the parents. Learning starts at home. They don't want to meet a stranger. You don't want to be in a stranger's home. They don't, and kids learn better if their parents are more adept into learning and able to transfer that knowledge onto them. So, yes.
Very good. And I can't go to the next slide without overlooking this last bullet here, knowing the numbers. This is huge, 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 huge. For every single client session that I have, knowing the numbers is a little bit intimidating. Sometimes we kind of try to skip over the numbers as an entrepreneur. We don't even know how to have a healthy conversation about numbers when it comes to starting up your business. Does the numbers make sense? Do you have an accountant? How are you separating your expenses? All of this is surrounded by knowing your numbers. What has helped you? What tools are you using to help you know your numbers, tweak the numbers, pivot the numbers, or not to be dismayed by numbers?
Doing all the fronting of money for my business, I am very particular about numbers. So
I don't know, you're going in and out just a little bit. I don't know if you're having a poor connection.
Uh-oh, can you hear me now? Huh, I heard a phone ringing, but it's not on my end, so that's interesting. So what I was saying is that in my case, I make sure that all of my numbers are aligned by all my income is separated. So my personal income and my business income are two different destinations. And I don't commingle those whatsoever. But I also make sure that I personally don't keep any debt. So part of the better part of my pop-up business is that I can buy what I need for my pop-up business. I read everything that I'm going to sell so that I know what I'm engaging with at that time. And I usually do very well at gauging what I need for the event, what I'm going to profit. And then I split that profit up to this is going to be reinvested and this is going to be saved towards getting a physical space. I actually have an accountant who handles all of the tax stuff as well. But mostly I just keep everything very straightforward and I run it as if, as it is with my own money. I don't have any, I'm not willing to go into debt. I know that's, some people are more comfortable doing that, but I have to be very particular about what I'm doing because I want this business to survive longer than just this year.
That is awesome. And so for me, as far as the numbers go, so I was looking at in a different capacity, like how do I know my targeted audience numbers, right? And so going to a Title I school, I knew immediately I wanted to give back to the community that I grew up in. But if I look from it through the lens of a mentor, I make sure that the entrepreneur is in a space where they're meeting with an accountant or someone that can audit their books to make sure that they have high level integrity, including myself. I make sure that my books are looked at often to make sure that we're staying on the ethical ends and making sure our taxes are paid. So it depends on where you're asking for as far as numbers go, how that question is answered here, but thank you for the question.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, I believe that this is on the slide because it can be a difficult conversation. Not everyone is open or welcome the conversation about knowing your numbers. And a lot of times when we're pitching or marketing and promoting, it's so that way we can get those numbers in so we can make a profit. But having that support system, and as you mentioned, having an accountant or someone to do the books, I've always been told trust but verify. Even if you contract or hire a professional to help you keep good books, I myself need to know my own numbers and make sure that it makes sense and that, yes, what they have validated is true and accurate. So having a system in place to help us out with those numbers, very, very important. And being comfortable with being uncomfortable about talking about your numbers as an entrepreneur.
And Sarah, can I just share one other thing really
Yeah,
quick?
sure,
We
sure.
come from a culture where we were taught what goes on in this house stays in this house. And so getting beyond that that mind frame that you cannot share your personal information or your business information with anyone else is very challenging. And because I am, like I would say, known by quite a few people, I do refer them out, right, to spaces that I trust. I do refer them to Community Works and Carolina Foothills Federal Credit Union, because they are great partners of ours, and to keep that privacy component, because again, I'm friends with a lot of people, and we just want to keep that space, and the opportunity for them to share openly. I do refer to those places that are very well trusted.
Well said. Thank you so much. I don't know if we have any pressing questions in the chat box that we want to bring up at this time before we roll our attention over to knowing your industry as part of these tough and seemingly difficult conversations when you're an entrepreneur. Speaking about your industry tends to be a little foggy or not as clear as it could be. Sometimes we don't know how to do that industry research. There's so many things that we don't know when it comes to knowing your industry and knowing that your industry has good potential, good profitability. Sometimes that can get a little complex and complicated as we try to speak about our business and what we do. And I know, Lakeisha, you are multi-talented and multiple projects. So I guess it just depends on who you're talking to when we're looking at the industry. Like, how do you compose a conversation to help people understand what the industry looks like? It is strong and doing well and performing well, and you are on point and up to date with what's happening with your industry.
So I definitely do my homework and my research. I used to reach out to the chamber and they would give us the information from the Buxton reports, excuse me. And so it will provide like those data points that you need to really know how to survive in that space and that business lineup. So definitely would reach out to them. And also Ms. Katrina Meeks, she has a plethora of information. So what I don't know, I definitely reach out to individuals that are experts in those areas to find out more information, just to remain valid and up to date. And then also listening to the climate, the social climate, George Floyd. You have to just kind of know how to move in those spaces with his passing. We could be so quick to say, oh, we want to host this event, but no, we might need a moment of silence. We might just need to hear what the climate and the ecosystem is saying. It's a sensitive time right now. So just knowing and listening is so key to understanding.
Thank you. Knowing and listening and staying up to date with your industry, super, super, super important and valuable. Tamika, what about you? What research or what information helped you clarify or identify that your industry is doing well and is heading to great prosperity? Did you utilize any specific tools to help you clarify your industry? How did you go about that?
So I was not having the backboard, but then I started reaching out to women who had already joined, had already entered this space and were already doing this work so that I could learn from them, and especially get who both had just surpassed their first year or their first 3 years. And so getting that information about, these are some things you might want to avoid or not do really made a big difference into launching the business. One of the things that I have run into with trying to get people to understand where I'm coming from is people assume bookstores don't make money. And a lot of that is due to extreme overhead costs. So people just get really excited about getting a big building and moving in, and they have to do it today. Patience will save you a lot of headache. So I try to be very patient and aware, and I've probably watched 1 million hours of YouTube videos to get any and all research from around the country covered for this business.
Very good. And would you say that that research and information helps you craft and refine your story as you're sharing with the world who you are and what you're doing? Does that research help impact or shift your story?
No, but I think my business is more experience level. It's not, no one could go and recreate what I'm doing just because they have, you know, ABC parts. It's a very personal inside experience, and you'd have to be really dedicated into not only just reading, but being willing to listen to the community in a way where they hear you and feel like they're being heard. So not the research is helpful for the business plan, for getting in front of people and talking about your business, but I think that lived experience and your true passion is what's going to shape your business overall.
Thank you. Well said. Well said. And that actually leads me into the last section of today's conversation, which is knowing your audience. Who are you talking to? Who needs your message? Who hears your story and shares it and say, have you met this young lady? She's got this great business model. You've got to plug into that. If you have not set up an appointment or have been exposed to Lakeisha and all of the different projects she's bringing to the community, especially in the Spartanburg area, like, who is that audience? Who is this ideal client, and how do they hear your story? On what platforms do they hear your story?
Wow. So it just depends on what day of the week it is, honestly, Sarah. So honestly, our targeted audience is from childbirth, while you're still in the womb, and until your demise. And so I'm speaking on behalf of the Northside Development Group, as well as Children and Choices. I believe Children and Choices, we're all children. We just have to make a choice, right? So in his eyes, we're all children. As far as the Northside, we are creating a parent university that's taking the holistic view and looking at 2-generational model, where we talk to parents, grandparents, everybody that comes in contact with anyone else, but especially children, right? So we're making sure that we hear from them. We help to educate them. We offer them resources like Birth Matters. And I'm pointing because Birth Matters is right next door. And making sure parents are aware, you know, if you need a doula, right? Learn what a doula is. Maybe it's not for you, but maybe it's for someone you know. And so we're just looking from the cradle to career model to make sure that families are well aware of all resources that we have here on the North Side, including the Start Me Spartanburg program, where we're starting to accept applications now, and it will close on October 30th. So if you're a budding entrepreneur, please reach out to us. I had to drop that little plug in. We will be accepting applications, and we only accept 15 participants into the program. So start now. We usually get about 100 that we have to vet, but we would love to have entrepreneurs that are interested. But we definitely are looking through the lens of the holistic family. So thank you.
Thank you. So it sounds like really listening also helps you connect, and it helps you craft how you're going to share your story, who you are, what you do, what resources and what tools do you have for the community. So listening first and then offering, that is beautiful. Well said. What about you, Tamika? How has knowing your audience helped you? And help you meaning crafting your story to help you as an entrepreneur?
So our space is a little bit different. We specifically target Black women between the ages of 25 and 40. They tend to be the gift givers of the family. They tend to be the ones who are holding down the reading. They tend to be the ones who are doing the most reading. They are making time for themselves. A lot of people are investing in self-care. And so from them, the books get to other people in their spaces. So they are our target market. And I also chose to target Black women specifically because a lot of businesses choose to avoid them. So I make it a point to make them the hierarchy of Beyond This February, because I just think it's important for Black women to see themselves centered and to be the ideal client, because oftentimes we are not thought of as the ideal client. So trying to shift the narrative in my own community and hoping that that begins to bridge out. And so far, you know, just having those one-on-one conversations with people has made the difference in knowing, okay, I'm on the right track here. I have lots of clients who come from all over and different backgrounds, but that core audience from, you know, mothers to teachers to daycare workers and hairstylists, they tend to be Black women. So that's where we put our focus in, and it has paid off tremendously.
Excuse me, I just wanted to point out that I believe Raquel has a question.
Yes, go ahead. Unmute yourself and jump right in.
Yes, first, I want to say that I'm an MBA student at Clemson University, and I'm great to be here to listen to all of this. And my first question is, what are you guys' inspirations and what motivate you guys daily to do this?
Okay, so inspiration for me is seeing other people grow. I'm not in competition with anyone else. I want to see everyone reach their fullest potential. And so whatever that is, I'm celebrating with you and not against you. And I have over 10,000 contacts, and usually our mentors have about the same. And so whatever you're inspired to do, I'm going to help catapult you there. Now, I am a pusher, so you may be upset with me, but cry, like Tamika say, cry while you're doing it, right? But I just want you to reach that full goal. So you asked about inspiration. What were the other part of the question? I'm sorry.
What motivates you daily, you know, to get up and do these things, like push yourself? And because, you know, sometimes it can be hard, you know, running all these things. And I want to know, what's your motivation?
So the reward is seeing someone else succeed. That's the greatest reward. I had a young man so my charity, for 2 years we have not been able to, we would give free haircuts and hairstyles in December for a Christmas gift. And a young man came in, and I refused to cry today, but a young man came in and he said, this is the first time I had a pair of shoes. No one else on them. And that's
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Lakeisha. That's a great question. Raquel, that's a really great question. We have to hone in and be in tune on why we're doing what we're doing in the first place. Why are we community leaders and servants? It's for you. It's for the community. It's for each one to reach one. Well said. Thank you so much for sharing that, Lakeisha. Very, very profound. Thank you for sharing. And I don't know, Tamika, if you wanted to share what motivates you to get up and do it all over again. Let's do this one more day.
So I'm very clear on, I set boundaries with my business because work-life balance is very, very important to me. So I have very specific days that are business focused and very specific days that are family and community focused. And I'm intentional about that, and I don't budge on that. I don't subscribe to hustle culture. People know that about me. I'm not going to run myself in the ground to build this business. I'm going to build this business and still thrive, so the community thrives as well. But what keeps me going each day is, I have 2 children. I have an 11-year-old and I have a 12-year-old that I love with everything within me, not because they're many versions of me, but because they are their own people. And I want them to see what you can do and what is possible when you just say, you know what, I'm going to take this chance. I'm going to take this opportunity. And yes, I'm scared. Yes, I'm uncomfortable. Yes, I don't have the funding that I want, but I'm still going to take this leap. I want them to see me doing, because kids do what they see you do. They do not do what you ask them to do. And I have learned that time and time and time again. And the other part for me, if you don't know much about Spartanburg history, we had a urban renewal run through here. And my family has been here for several generations. My family was one of those generations who was severely affected by urban renewal. We lost 4 people because of it. My great-grandmother and several uncles. Not having those businesses available, all those businesses, all those homes being mowed down, I'm trying to rebuild some form of that community back. And I figure if I start, maybe other people will follow along too.
Well said. Thank you so much for sharing that, ladies. At the end of the day, it's not about money. It's not only about money. I mean, if you're in business, you got to make money. Yes, we know that. But it's not just about money. It's about legacy. It's about change. It's about transformation. It's about growth. And I just have to thank both of you ladies for taking the time out of your schedule today to share that story with us. You know, a little snippet really, because we can only get but so much in an hour's time frame. I think we have about 3 minutes, and I love to take at least one more question from the audience. And also, if both of you ladies could please make sure you do share your contact information in the chat box, how people can connect with you, because it's about connections. It's about that proximity principle. I don't have any connections in Spartanburg, but now I do, right? With both of you, I'm covered in Spartanburg. so yeah, please make sure you do share your information on how people can get in touch with you and connect with you and start building that relationship so that way each one can reach one and move forward in this journey of transformation. I've run out of questions and I've run out of time.
I'm getting notes that there's questions in the chat box, but I can't see them. So
okay,
maybe someone else can.
Erin can help me with some
Well,
of the
let's
questions.
see. Katrina had asked, she was uncertain about the storefront and you and when you were looking at it, how you're in front of audiences.
So
Yeah, my question was, and I may have missed this, Tamika, do you have a storefront or are you running this online only? And also the publicity that you've had, that you mentioned in your video, how did you go about securing that or getting that publicity?
okay.
I'm sorry, I can't hear
I
you.
have lost Tamika. Tamika, you were going in and out. That's a great question, Katrina. And if we do run out of time, I do want to make sure you ladies do plug up and connect. And if there's any questions in the chat box, I am going to save the chat box so I can make sure I send out an email responding to the questions that we weren't able to get to today. But Tamika, I don't know, you have about a minute if you still want to try to give it a shot of answering that question.
Okay, can you hear me?
Now we can.
I have no idea what that is. So we're currently an online store. I do pop-ups throughout Greenville and Spartanburg. And most of the publicity that we have obtained has been through people reaching out because they've talked to someone who has talked to me. And that's generally how it has worked. I have not sent any press releases or anything to that nature. It's just people that I know or people who just happen to come by the pop-ups have said, hey, to a reporter, and reporters have been like, you know, do you have 5 minutes? Do you have 15 minutes? And that has been kind of my story at this moment is connections. It's really just natural connection.
Awesome. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to thank you on behalf of the Community Works Carolina Women's Business Center and also our resource partners who invited us to have a space for this platform today. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being with us. I hope you got something of value. And I don't know if Erin has any closing remarks. Thank you. Thank you, ladies.
Well, Sarah, Keisha, and Tamika, that is so fantastic. And I am such a linear thinker. It's so helpful to think about where, but wait a minute, we need to know our story and we need to understand the audience and the question they're asking. And when we know our story and we know our market and we know our business and we know our numbers, then we can very quickly answer the question that has been asked by the person. Whether, again, you're at a networking event or if you are, talking to a banker or whatever, if you know your story. So we really do have to do the background, and that's where the practice would come in, practicing your, the knowledge. So, and then listening to answer. Is that beautiful circular full piece? Thank you.
That's an excellent summary. Yes, that is exactly what happened today. And I hope everyone who is in attendance today took something away that they can go and work on and pull from and incorporate in what you're doing with sharing your stories. Each aspect has a role. And as both of our panelists said, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you do have to share who you are, what you do, and how people can find you and work with you. Well said. Thank you.
Excellent.
Great
Excellent.
summary.
Well, thanks to everyone for joining us today. Again, Sarah, Keisha, Tamika, Jerry and Earl, Anna, who can't be with us, Katrina, Justine, Dean, who's already moved on, Steve Johnson, good to see you today, and everyone else. We will be back in 2 weeks discussing hard conversations when you have bad news, and how to kind of take that authentic self and knowing the story so that you can deliver it. And we are going to have an attorney on board who will be very helpful in understanding how to deliver it without getting into legal trouble too, because unfortunately that can happen as well. Good. Thanks to everybody. And
Thank
you
you,
have a wonderful
everybody.
day. Oh, Steve Johnson, you want to say something?
Thank you.
Oh, did you want to say something,
I
Steve?
just wanted to say thanks.
Oh,
Great,
well, y'all,
great.
thanks.
Love
All
this
right, have a great
story.
day.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody.